is looking absolutely terrible. I definitely can't say majestic today. So we are in the office and the check-in location. It is Friday. I am doing check-ins. I've just done all the check-ins for the guys that are competing. It is a huge pro qualifier in the UK with NPC next weekend, the 19th. The week later is the natural pro qualifier, obviously within the NPC league. We had the MKA Classic last week, which was a real big success, a real big turnout for the amount of competitors that we had. Never had that amount of competitors before, I don't think, in a regional ever for NPC, so it was nice to do both the open and the naturals on one day. I stayed there from it was 8:30 until about 10-11 o'clock. It was a long day, but also a very nice day. I think all the competitors really enjoyed it. It's obviously good for the tubers to have so many competitors at a show. Maybe even, show to them that they are able to run a competition with so many competitors. And it was nice to see people get put off by doing that because they think, oh, I'm a first timer, or I feel like I'm not of good quality enough to be able to do that. Like, you really are. The other kind of competitive leagues for open, like PCA in the UK, or natural leagues in the UK, like UKDFB, WNBF, BNBF, etc. If you are doing those shows, you can do the NPC as well. I have clients doing so many of the different federations as well as the NPC, and you are really capable of doing that. So if you think that you're not, don't put yourself down. I promise that you will do well. I'm sorry if you can't hear me very well. My little microphone is on charge, so I will pop that in a little bit. I am in my diet phase. I'm feeling good. We are down by, from the start of the diet, 4.5 kilos. Probably don't still look like a big sausage, but it's fine. I do look like a big sausage. It's just because, well, let's be frank, I'm used to an assisted diet, that being with things like even clenbuterol, thyroid, etc. And there's literally nothing in my body because we know that Megan is coming away from all of that. We don't need to go into that shenanigans. Maybe we will delve a little bit deeper into that when we go. Anyway, you've just seen I've started my morning routine, got myself Kuba a coffee, made sure that I've got kind of, things tidied. The big thing that I do in the morning is I actually make my bed. I think however you start your day and however you do anything is how you do one or everything. When I was diving, when I was at home, the first thing that my mum would make sure that got done is, the chaperones, the people that were looking after us in diving competitions, was that we had a tag room and that we made our bed, because that sets the tone for your day. So I like to make sure that that gets done, so that I can go about. The rest of the house is not messy. I don't like to have a messy room. It's a working house. It is not a house that's like, it's a show house. I don't want that, because I need things and I need it to get done there and then. But I like to have tidy so that I can think straight. I think that if it's tidy, you think straight. So we've done check-ins for the people that are obviously competing very soon. I've got a few, not weekly check-ins, not just weekly check-ins, people that are checking in twice a week, that are getting 8 weeks out from their competitions, so that we're getting on top of them and making sure that things are getting changed if they need to. And I have some check-ins to do, both normal check-ins for clients who do online coaching from a competitive perspective, and also some of the guys from the Empower, which are the 12-week challenges that I do. As we restarted one of those 2 weeks ago, they get bi-weekly check-ins, so that we can obviously help them and lead into a photo shoot at the end of it, which we have just done. And we'll definitely watch that on my YouTube, because that'll be up. And I'm just about to do all of those check-ins now to make sure that everybody's on top form. I wake up at 5, I get cracking on. I don't finish or leave my desk until all my check-ins are done. My clients are way more important than anything else that I need to do, but I like to also be timely with the things like eating a meal, etc., because that's keeping me fueled, making sure I'm productive, etc. So I need to make sure that I crack on at that time to make sure I can get everything done that I need to get done. my clients get quality replies. I don't give them shit replies. So if somebody's telling you that they're going to be sending over, checking over at 8 o'clock at night time because they need to give you a quality reply, they're probably not being productive enough. So quality reply is everything. I also don't want to ramble. My clients don't want to listen to me for 25 minutes. They want to be told what it is that they need to do, the things that they've done right, the things that they've not done so right, because that's also very important, that they actually have something to action upon, goals set, etc., so that they can improve on that in the next week, so that we can get after it. Getting after it and commitment to the goals, competitor or not, is what we do at MK. DM to join. So that you can see here, Sam, you'd obviously you'd use the meal switches column, which is great. The only thing is you had the protein aligned with the vegetables, and you also had the vegetables aligned with the protein. So if you're going to swap, it is no problem, but if you were having chicken breast, you'd want to swap to another source of protein, and obviously for you wanted to swap to tofu. So I've given you an example here where if you were going to change the chicken breast and you wanted to have tofu instead, you would use the same type of food source, so the protein source here. So chicken breast for tofu. Here, when it comes to the vegetables, you would want to just keep vegetables in. They're great for digestion, and also you want to keep gut health good. You could also switch to some fruits if you did want to, but if we can try and keep the same type of food source, that would be great. And then the blueberries here, they are fruits, which are great to obviously have in, but we do have other bits of fruits in your meal plan, so it's no problem to not have that in one meal. But because fruits do have a little bit of carbohydrates in, because you wanted to have the sweet potato, I've just given you the option of what you would have in terms of sweet potato instead of the blueberries, just because they do have quite a bit of carbohydrates in them, so it'd be a good swap. So you can see here how I've done that. Hopefully that makes sense, that when you do more swaps, it's good. But this kind of column here, that you add in the food and it tells you exactly the same grams that you need to get the same calories as what we'd originally set, is just a great way for you to be able to utilize that. So I've adjusted my schedule a little bit this week. I always like to find ways to be able to optimize my process. As I am taking a year off from the stage, I wanted to put even more kind of push into my businesses, and that includes doing things like starting a podcast, pushing a little bit more when it comes to online coaching, etc. For that kind of focus across this year. So instead of doing things like cooking my meals fresh every day, like I'm doing my bulk cooking and I have it prepared for 3 days in advance. I used to do that when I worked full time, so it's no issue. It's nice to have it fresh. But when you are under time pressures, it's super important that obviously that gets done as well, alongside obviously having to do all the other things at home, the clothes washing, etc. Just making sure that there is time for everything. Bulk cooking and kind of preparing the meals into the fridge for a few days in advance had to become part of the agenda from kind of now on. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that does in terms of improving my optimization and seeing what it does. But that means every Wednesday and Sunday I pretty much do the bulk cooking, and that kind of gets things moving. So if you're someone who has the bodybuilding as a goal, but also has time restraints that you can't be in the kitchen every day because you're not at home, you're at work, the bulk cooking really works. And in fairness, like, it's not that it tastes terrible at all, it's just sometimes it's nice to have it fresh. But I'd rather have something good and nutritious and an actual meal, like my beef and potatoes or my chicken and rice, or I mean, if you're not someone that likes that, a chicken wrap, whatever it is that you're having that would be bodybuilding foods, then you can do that, and you can eat it rather than heading to the local supermarket and grabbing something that's, or not a supermarket, but like a local shop or like a little takeaway style thing at dinner time, and not making the wisest of choice. Not that I'd probably rather eat nothing than have something like that, but I'm just saying, if you're someone who potentially needs to optimize their process so that they can make time to be able to make their meals, potentially a little bit of bulk cooking, popping it in the fridge so you can literally just grab the meal, pop it in your bag, off your truck to work, then maybe that might be a little thing that you need to do as well. The other reason my day is a little bit different today is I'm actually training after meal 2. Meal 2 is usually my potato meal if I'm training at 1:30. Today I have a lovely Emily, my client who became pro last weekend, coming to train with me. She's going to bring a pro card so that we can get a nice little picture together. I did go to her first comp, first pro qualifier comp in Spain, and you will have seen that on here, but we had the MK Classic last weekend, so I couldn't be in 2 places at once, and with it being my show and promoting it, I needed to be there, and it was a very busy day, so it was good to be there, but it meant that I wasn't there the day that she won her pro card, and it's just going to be lovely to be able to see her, have a little session together, and also get a nice little picture with her and her pro card, which she's incredibly proud of. I mean, if we go through Emily's journey, so Emily was a competitor, I think from 2015. I started bodybuilding in 2016. So I think that she'd already done a season at that point, but I could be wrong. 2016 could have been her first year as well. She was already in body fitness, it was called back then, in UKBFF. And she then decided to take a little bit of time away from stage. She loves competing. She was a competitive gymnast. She's absolutely fantastic. She's got the mindset of an athlete, which is really great to have, especially with the carryover that it then can have to something like this. But she loves bodybuilding because she loves to train. She loves to look good. She knows and understands that she has that real drive, that passion for just doing better and being great at what she does. And if you've never come from a background of sporting, maybe that's something that you will learn as you do it a little bit more. But if you've been in that kind of environment before, it's definitely something that can cross-translate, even if it's a very different sport. So for Emily, she needed to take some time away. Well, she didn't need to. She wanted to take some time away from stage because she had 2 young girls. She wanted to be very much part of their childhood, making sure that they were obviously set. They had a great working family vibe, and you know, had great connection with their children, and that didn't mean that she stopped training and eating well. It probably wasn't in the same capacity from a bodybuilding perspective, more so lifestyle. But she decided, obviously, as the girls were getting a little bit older and they were going to school and she had a little bit of extra time, to obviously take her mind back to stage. So she asked me if I would support her with her process to do that, and that was in February 2024. So that would have been last year. It was like 16 months ago from here, isn't it? So in that time, we've done off seasons, 2 of them, long ones. We've done diets, 2 of them, and then also the competition prep. In the 16 months that we've worked with, she's probably made more progress than she did in the years that she'd made, or years that she'd been doing bodybuilding before. Probably from, you know, a nice approach. I'm very on it with my clients in a supportive way. We made it work in that, obviously we made sure that there was the times that she could train, times that she couldn't, making sure that mother life is thought of. And we obviously made all that happen with the great commitment that she has to the process, the hard-working attitude that she has to the process, for her to become a pro within that time, because the goal at that point was, I want to step on stage, I want to be amazing, and I want to become a pro. And we've allowed for that to happen in one whole rotational process of being together. So if you can take something away from it, it is, if you love it, you will make it work. If you have passion for it, you can achieve anything. You need to make sure that you are committing yourself to the day-to-day, every single day. You can still balance being a great mum and working whilst obviously doing it. It's just you've got to find someone that's willing to support you in a sense to help you make that work, because not everybody's life is the same. Not everybody can be at the gym at 1 o'clock every single day, etc. Like, you've got to make it work. The best way to make it work is by having a process that works for you, that keeps you less stressed. If you are less stressed, you will make more progress. But that also comes the kind of mindset of, I want to make it work, so I am probably going to have to adapt my days differently to a normal person, and that kind of want and willingness to do that has to come from you. So anyway, it'll be good to see you. First of all, though, we have the Team MK coaching call today is all about hidden calories and not being able to make the progress in your diet that you are wanting to make because of potentially things that you don't realise that you're adding. And it's not something from a perspective that we're judging our clients or anything like that. It's more education, because sometimes people actually don't understand. They don't understand the things that they put into their foods, that they're not actually calorie free, etc. And if you can help them educate and support your clients with that, rather than making them feel bad for things that they potentially didn't even understand, then obviously a little bit of education will go a long way, which is why we do the calls. So Kuba will be heading that up in 10 minutes. I'm going to go and get my pre-workout meal so that I can eat it, because I'm eating and training a little bit earlier to train with Em. And then it'll be in the gym getting after it for shock horror glutes.
And that 1 week, no movement, right? And I knew at that point, like, that it's not the time yet to make more changes. It wasn't that. They was adding 500 mils of almond milk to their coffees per day, and they was having a cappuccino from Starbucks every single day on top. And they didn't realise that it had calories in it. Now, 100 grams of almond milk, 13 calories, granted, it's not that much, but you add a cappuccino on top, the almond milk alone, 500 grams, is around 100 calories, plus the cappuccino, that's about extra 250. That's 350 calories extra without them even noticing or understanding that they're adding extra calories on top. And the same issue happens in an off-season setting and an off-season phase with a lot of people. They often think that these small things are harmless, but they could be harmless if it was something that you did once per day, right? In box, your client's eating clean, they're 100% on plan, coach, but the scale isn't moving, right? How many times have you guys that are coaching have heard that? You've probably heard it so many times, right? And very often you probably have to ask your clients to quite literally.
People at this point, they get that pressure blues phase. They think to themselves, oh, I feel really unmotivated because that big goal has been there, I've done it, and now what?
I don't feel like that. For me, it's like you just hit any goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get like people going into that.
I was talking about you before I came in on my thing, and I said that you've always had that passion for bodybuilding. It's why once you'd achieved your goal of building your children up to a point where they were a little bit more independent and they didn't need you every single minute of every single second, that's when you could turn a little bit of focus back to proper bodybuilding. That's why I don't think that you find that the motivation goes, because it's just always been there anyway. But because you were a high level competitor before, that mindset's always, not even just with bodybuilding, with everything. From the beginning, yeah, 100%. It's the same with the food. Like people that have had sporting backgrounds don't struggle with it. People that haven't had that do, and it doesn't make them worse of a competitor, but you've got to learn it over time to become good at it, or to at least enjoy it. But you've got so much motivation right now because you know that you're at the bottom of the pecking line again. You're going to be a great pro, and even if you would have stood on stage in Portugal and looked great, you know that it's not a pro debut. Whereas you rather have that little bit of extra muscle and be like, yeah, I can actually hang with these girls. Like, I want you to get on stage, and I have every confidence that you can do it with the right tools to step on there and be no questions asked first call out.
like to be able to, I mean, it's nice to see people in person or have a call or at least have a conversation somehow with my clients after their show to be able to set up calls, because if you are after a competition and you don't have any vision or action plan, you can feel a little bit like, well, what's the next plan or what's the next focus, and you can feel a little bit, I guess, down. Everybody calls it the post-show blues. I don't want to use it, but I guess that's what you could call it. I've never had them. Like I was saying to Emily in the gym, I've never had post-show blues, because the next goal was always whatever the next goal was, and that next goal was always, it's time to improve. It's time to improve the physique. Even when I stood off stage at the Olympia, I had no post-show blues. There was no negative, there was no down feelings, even though the goal was no longer let me get bigger, because obviously the feedback, and you could see it on stage that the feedback wasn't being let's get bigger. I could still improve as an athlete in terms of my posing could improve, the way in which I approached my day with feeling a little bit more nervous, getting and controlling those a little bit better, refining my body so that I don't have as much density into my upper. So there was always something of a goal that could be improved. And in life, for me, I always have, what do I want to improve in my process as in my career? What can I improve on as my knowledge when it comes to being a coach? What can I do to improve my quality of service through education that I can obviously deliver to my clients, etc. There's always something going on so that nothing ever feels stagnant. I think that you can feel a little bit like, in no man's land, if you have no vision, and people call it a vision board, an action plan, goal setting, etc. I just call it life, because that's just life, isn't it? You just want to keep stepping forward. I couldn't just plod along. I probably would get a little bit bored of what's going on and feeling like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. But I feel like most bodybuilders are the same, that we have that focus of just wanting to do something with all of our might and just keep on attacking every single part of our life like that. And if you are that way and you get made to feel a little bit strange, oh, just crack on. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Anyway, it was a great session with Emily. Nice to sit down and go over some goals for her. I also did my deadlifts when she left as well, because the strength part of training is a big part of my goal setting at the moment as well. So that was nice to do those. Nice to also help him with some of his sessions, just because his training partner was away today, so he's obviously getting a little bit more with the types of his prep, so he doesn't want to be taking off 5 plates aside on different things. So I thought I would go in and obviously help him with that to make sure that he's feeling good in his prep as well. And that's it. Had my post workout meal. Always trained by JP Group Rice, trained by JP Way, not trained by JP Berry. So they're just, I think they're Tesco berries. Up the Tesco. No, actually, because I got kicked out, didn't I? Right. I'm just talking shit. So I've got to go and let my brother's dogs out, because he's had a boo-boo with his organisation in his day. I need to go and put some water in my mum's chicken's feed, because I forgot to do it this morning. I'm looking after the chickens whilst she's away. I need to go and check on my grandma, make sure that she's okay, because she had a little fall and she's not very, she's quite an old lady. And then it'll be home to watch a little bit of TV. We like to have a bit of a switch off in an afternoon on a Sunday. Give back to the mind, refresh, regenerate, and get ready for the week. Obviously we've got clients that are competing, so the work never stops, but always an afternoon to be able to sit, take a breath, and then crack on with the rest of the week. Okay, so it's last meal time. I thought I would tell you how I make my cream of rice. Well, it's cream of rice and oats. So I use half cream of rice, half oats. Have all cream of rice post-workout, just because it digests a lot quicker than obviously what oats do. Oats digest a little bit slower, which is nice for me. At night time, it means that I don't wake up feeling hungry, And I'm also not afraid to say that sometimes I do wake up feeling a little bit hungry. Acceptance is the key to lots of things. Anyway, I use like 2.5 times the amount of water. I think that's how it works out. I'm not very good at maths. To the cream of rice amount that I'd have. So I've got 75 grams of cream of rice here, and I've got 300 millilitres of water in there, and I've cooked it in the microwave for 2 minutes. Then I stirred it, then I did it for 1 minute, then I stirred it until I got to the consistency that I want, which is not quite stodgy, but not runny. See, it has a wobble. Then I'm going to add my little cream of rice, not cream of rice, my whey paste on top, again from Trained by JP. I'm actually going to make it now, and I'm going to show you. So, I was fancying chocolate today. I like it when it's stodgy on this one. So it's the triple chocolate ISO from Trained by JP Nutrition. It's lovely. I was fancying a chocolate option, so that's what I'm going to go with. Then I'm going to add 100 grams of berries on here. There's also 30 grams of dark chocolate on there as well, which will go down a treat. I make mine about 30 minutes before I eat it. I like it to go cold. I don't like having too warm of food, especially before bed. Makes me feel a bit weird, and it's a bit warm. So if you're someone who struggles when the heat is around but you need to eat meals, if you're a bodybuilder, let them go a little bit cold and you'll be absolutely sound. And it's just another way to be able to just crack on with life, regardless of whether it's sunny, warm, etc. Don't complain, I already said that in the first part of my video. But if you want any products from Trained by JP, use my code MAKE10. Oh no, I thought I was showing you the best, but this is not. This is an ASOS vest. Sorry, Jordan. Anyway, I'm gonna go and sit down for 10 minutes. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you would like to join my coaching team, please drop me a DM or an email at meg@teammkcoaching.com, and we'll be back again for another video.